2023 is over. We're into 2024. What are my predictions for this year in the Pokemon market? It's going to be grim, but we're going to get through it. Let's go and check it out. Right, guys, we're in 2024. 2023 is over, and last year was a really interesting year just for the Pokemon market as a whole, right? We saw, obviously, the release of Scarlet and Violet era. Sword and Shield is over. We can look back at the Sword and Shield era, and it was a fantastic era, right? We closed it off with Crown Zenith, arguably one of the best modern era sets of modern times, really, to be honest, with the pull rates, amazing artwork, you know, a lot of availability. It was just a very, very good, solid product all round, right, for collectors or for people that just want to have fun and crack open packs and, you know, have fun, right? Overall, I think the Sword and Shield era will go down as one of the best eras in a very, very long time. Now, we saw the big boom of the Sun and Moon era last year with all the waifu cards and the tag team alt arts. They went absolutely crazy last year. Some people have asked me already, you know, Jace, what do I think is going to happen in this year, 2024? Now, of course, all of these are just speculation. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen, as always. I mean, I've got stuff wrong already with the Moonbryon. I thought it was going to be way higher than it did, but it didn't. I didn't expect Evolving Skies booster boxes to climb as fast as they did, but they did, and things like that. So, you know, I don't always get stuff right, but this is trying to me have a little bit of a guess, all right? So let's jump into the first thing. Let's take a look at what has been going on in the market last year to give us an idea of what may happen this year and, you know, take a little stab at it. The first one to talk about is Evolving Skies. So last year, Evolving Skies was a set out of the Sword and Shield era that just went absolutely crazy, right? This gives me the vibes of Team Up, XY Evolutions, things like that. It's a massive fan favourite. You know, there are a ton of amazing cards in there. We know the story of Evolving Skies by now. I don't need to go on about it all the time. So over the past year, so basically in 2023, this set kept going. Now, I didn't think it would actually go as crazy as it did, to be honest, because if you look at the rest of the Sword and Shield era, they're nowhere near this. They're not, right? Evolving Skies is just in literally a complete league of its own. So it was sitting around about $300 to $320, and now it's about $420. I mean, at one point it did actually reach as high as nearly $450 a box. That's actually pretty crazy. You know, that's actually pretty crazy. Now, I said in my tier list videos, if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. But basically, in my tier list video, I said that I do believe this will be $1,000 a box. It will get there. Now, how long will it take to get there is another matter, but I really don't see this falling back down to lower levels, right? I just don't. It's just going to keep going year on year, month by month. It's going to keep climbing, right? So I do believe it could get to $1,000. It's only going to be a matter of time. Now, by that logic, you may be thinking, well, in that case, then, if I could buy a 400 or 420, I'm going to make a ton of money, or it's going to do well down the line. And, you know, to be honest, yeah, it's probably the case. But it depends how long it's going to take to get there. It's already shot ridiculously fast. It did slow down quite a bit in the back end of last year. I would say over the last, like, 6 months, you know, 5 to 6 months, 2023, the set didn't really move that much. Now, you could say it's kind of plateaued. We've seen it with XY Evolutions, right? XY Evolutions got up massively, reached $1,000 a box at one point, and it's dropped, and it's kind of sat around that 700 to 800 for the longest time. It's just been sat there. Whereas other sets like Cosmic Eclipse and obviously Team Up, some of the other Sun and Moon era, they just went absolutely bonkers last year. They went really, really crazy. So with Evolving Skies, do I see Evolving Skies doing that in the future? You know, just have a skyrocket effect of Team Up? It might do in the future. But I think as not just the market itself in Pokemon, but just the economy and everything else that's going on in the world right now, I think everything is going to slow down. We are going back to normal. We're going back to the pre-pandemic, you know, Pokemon. I actually think we're probably going back to even the big, like, Logan Paul boom, to be honest. So we have to wait and see how things go with Evolving Skies. I do kind of expect this booster box to sit around $500 by the end of the year. Might be a little bit more, but we'll have to wait and see. Another thing I want to talk about is the fall of the alt arts. Now, alt arts in the Sword and Shield era have been falling like crazy. I mean, in 2023, we saw cards like this Charizard, the Lugia, the Giratina, even the Umbreon. A lot of the big alt arts dropped in price quite a bit. I do think they'll bounce back, especially some of the bigger top end cards like this Charizard and things like the Flaming Chicken, of course, from Chin and Rain, the Blaziken, and cards like that. I do feel like they'll be doing very, very well in the long run, as we saw with the Sun and Moon boom of the tag team alt arts. I think alt arts from Sword and Shield, people love them. They're very, very awesome. Now, yes, there was a lot of, you know, packs opened and cards, you know, being pulled, but these were really, really tough. The pull rates of some of these cards was incredibly low, like insanely low. When you start talking about like the alt art Gengar VMAX and cards like that, they're just really, really tough. Compared to the special illustration rares of this, you know, Scarlet and Violet era, these are a lot tougher to get hold of. To take a look at this Charizard as a prime example, over the past year, we saw it nearly drop 50% from around $190 to, basically $100. So yes, this card has fallen. I think this year in 2024 is one of the best times to pick up some of these cards that you may be missing from your collection because of their price. They have dropped like crazy. So I think this year in 2024 actually is going to be a very, very good year to get the missing cards that you need and that you want in your collections. And I think that's what I'm going to be doing. Bargain hunting. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be hunting for some bargains. A lot of these arts have dropped so low. We're talking about things like the Mew, for instance, a Mew V for Fusion Strike. I mean, people send that for like $20 or £20. Like, that's ridiculously cheap. That's a really good price to grab an incredible looking card, and a card that did hold more than double that, over time. So now's a great time to grab some of these. I mean, I think the big ones will bounce back quite strong, especially once they're out of print. You got to remember, at the moment, a lot of these, they're still in circulation. I wouldn't say they're in print, but they're still in circulation. There's still a lot of products around. You can buy them, you can crack open the packs. But down the line, they're going to go. And that's when we're going to start seeing the rise of some of the big money cards like the Charizard. We're going to be keeping an eye on this year of how the Sword and Shield era would go. Scarlet and Violet's too new, to be honest. All the card prices there. A lot of them have already dropped, but I do feel like they will continue to drop. Whereas I think we've got to keep an eye on the Sword and Shield because they've already dropped. But where do they go from there? I mean, already the Charizard has bounced back a little bit. So where do these cards, lie in the next 6 months, 12 months? So we'll be keeping a close eye on a lot of them, but I do feel like now is a great time. Right, the Scarlet and Violet era. Now, of course, we saw last year with the launch of the Scarlet and Violet era, it got off to a, let's be honest, a rocky start. It really did. Scarlet and Violet base didn't do very well. I think it's a very good base set, but still didn't do very well. Then we have Paldea Evolved. I think Paldea Evolved is a very good one. Ascidian Flames, bit here miss. 151, just absolute home run. And then Paradox Rift, as you can see here, I do believe is a good set. So we do have, a lot of cheap booster boxes right now. I think it's a great time to grab them. We've saw it in the past with Sword and Shield, right? Shield and Rain, Battle Styles, Fusion Strike. Those boxes were like 80 a box. And people were like, no, back then, people were like, no, I don't want Shield and Rain. I don't want Fusion Strike. It's $80 a box. It's trash. It's not going to go anywhere, whatever. When we look at things like Shield and Rain, it's now like 150 a box, pushing 160. So it's doubled in value, right? Okay, in the past 12 months, I would say. So Scarlet and Violet, I'm not saying these are going to double in the next 12 months, absolutely not, but these are sets that you want to keep an eye on because they're cheap. You can't go wrong. Honestly, I don't care what set it is, you can't go wrong at picking up booster boxes for like $80 a box, right? Under $100. Don't forget, MSRP went up and the booster boxes came out less than Sword and Shield era booster boxes. Crazy. Right, we've got Paldea and Fates that are coming at the end of this month. That's obviously a holiday set. And then, of course, we're going to have a ton of sets that are going to come out for Scarlet and Violet era throughout the year. I rate Scarlet and Violet era. I think the introductions of the illustration rares and obviously the change to practice that you get, every holo in every pack. That's pretty cool. Good pull rates, though. You do get a good amount of pull rates. Not necessarily the pulls of a particular card, because Sword and Shield was really tough on that as well. But the volume of pulls per booster box is actually really good. I mean, the average like 11 pulls, 12 pulls, one in every 3 packs. Sword and Shield, I remember cracking boxes of that, and I'd be lucky if I got 6 hits, V's or better. So I do feel like Scarlet and Violet is great for people that just want to crack packs and have fun. But I think they're also going to be great products to hold for the long haul. But it's going to take time for these to grow, and I think it's a waiting game, and these are going to be great products down the line. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on these. So I think the Scarlet and Violet era are going to be potential home runs. You just got to figure out which set is going to be better than the others. I think right now, Paradox Rift and Paldea Evolved over Obsidian Flames and Scarlet and Violet base are good ones. Sun and Moon era alt arts and waifu cards. I think these are going to fall. My prediction this year is I do feel like a lot of the alt arts, tag teams, and the waifu cards of the Sun and Moon era will fall. Last year they had a big boom, right? Take this one. This is an example. This is a tag team OR card. It went from $60 or $70 up to $175, so it gained $100 in value and is now dropped by $40 already. I do expect it to continue to fall. Now, I don't expect it to go down to where it was before, but I do think it'll sell. A lot of them, not just this card in general, but just across the board in the Sun and Moon era. Now, Sun and Moon era booster boxes are continuing to climb, and I would expect them to continue to go up in the next 12 months and beyond. Where they'll go, who knows? If you take a look at the XY era boxes, some of them, some of the more stronger sets have done incredibly well. But then some of the other ones like Primal Clash, Steam Siege, Breakpoint, Breakthrough, things like that, they didn't do incredibly well. They're kind of like middle of the road. I mean, they've been steadily growing in value over time, but they haven't skyrocketed ahead like Phantom Forces or Flashfire and stuff like that. Sun and Moon, we saw it with Team Up, literally going to the moon. We saw it with Cosmic Eclipse, but all of them have been slowly going up in value, and I do expect that to continue. However, the single cards, I do expect them to drop. However, the single cards, like these Tag Team arts and the waifu cards, that craze has kind of died down a little bit. Okay, so I do expect them to drop, slow down a bit. I don't expect them to continue to keep going up. Not right now. I think this year they may start to dip. I mean, they already started to dip towards the back end of last year. This card dropped $40 in the space of like 3 to 4 months. So I do expect them to continue to drop, and some of the big waifu cards have dropped as well. Similar to Sword and Shield, but not quite as much and quite as drastic as Sword and Shield, because don't forget, Sword and Shield is still available. You can still buy a lot of these booster boxes. 120, 130, 140. Sun and Moon's completely different, right? Sun and Moon, you're looking at $400, $500, $600 a box. So, that is different. So that will keep the values of these cards up in a declining market, not just in Pokemon, but just in general. So that's one thing to look out for. So those are just some of my predictions. I think overall, a lot of stuff is going to start dropping in value. I think across the board. You're going to have some outliers, of course, they're going to go up in value. But right now, people just can't afford to buy. Of course, Pokemon is a luxury item. People just can't afford to buy stuff. If I look back at last year for myself in 2023, my Seal collection hadn't really grown much, like barely anything. A lot of costs of everything around me was going up in price. Things like getting a new puppy, of course, getting Rocky and stuff like that, included in the cost of living and everything. So, I actually had to sell some of my Seal products. So, I did like move stuff around as well. Like I sold some product to buy different product here and there, just to try and diversify what I have in my collection rather than sticking to one thing. Because if you go to one thing or even 2 or 3 things, something could happen and they could drop. So I've spread out. I don't put my eggs in one basket. I've spread them out over multiple different baskets. Little ones here and there. To, try and I want to collect them all, and to try and balance it out. You know what I mean? So I think this year a lot of it's going to drop. I think now's a great time if you have the funds to be able to pick up stuff. I think this year's going to be a great time to pick up cards to add into your collection. That's what I'm going to be doing. My main focus this year is to go and buy single cards that I am missing, that I've always wanted to have in my collection, graded or ungraded, doesn't really bother me, but I really want to get them out of my collection. So I'm on the hunt for a lot of Sword and Shield era, and some little Sun and Moon, but mainly Sword and Shield. Scarlet and Violet era is really easy to get hold of now. There's so much product around. Cards are really, easy to get hold of. So right now, I think it's just going to be Sword and Shield. We saw the big drop of the old arts. I think now's a really, really great time. But there you are. Those are just my predictions, guys. Let me know down in the comments, what are your thoughts are going to happen this year? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down in the comments. And if you made it this far into the video, guys, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe for more Pokemon content. We're on the road to 10k. We are so close. So those are my predictions. But if you want to know what plans I have for the channel this year in 2024, then make sure to click the video on screen right now. If you watch more Pokemon content, as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Alright guys, that's it from me in this video. As always, you guys are the legends. See you in the next one.